All right. Welcome to Tuesday Art Chat. I had last week off because I was at our art retreat in the Sunshine Coast at Australia Zoo, and it was amazing, absolutely beautiful. The wildlife, the Crocodile Hunter Lodge and Warrior Restaurant were just amazing, absolutely first class, great. Uh, they just looked after us. The amenities are amazing. The food was brilliant. And of course, the zoo, the animals, we managed to take some amazing photos that we were able to use for reference images for our painting. So that's why I wasn't on last week. I'll talk probably a bit more about the lessons learned and stuff from the retreat next week. Maybe we'll talk about creating like original paintings from photos and that sort of thing. But this week I wanted to talk about the art of self-critiquing your work. Good morning, Odette and Karen. How are you guys? Um, and I don't know if you saw my story this morning, but we have the most amazing day. It is overcast and drizzling with rain. Now, when I lived in the city, I would have never even thought that I would love an overcast day where it was raining. But when you're on a farm and the ground is brown, like all the grass is dead, and our tanks are getting low for the cattle troughs, you pray for rain all the time. So, Karen, yes, we did have some amazing photos from the zoo trip. And if you're in my membership, of course, the Creative Barn, either tier I'm putting together, I've been starting to share some of those reference images, copyright free for you guys to use if you want. All right, Odette is pouring down your way. I wish it was kind of pouring here, but it's just I don't think I want pouring rain, just that steady overcast drizzle. It really soaks into the ground then. When it's pouring with rain, of course, it runs off everywhere. So what we've got now is pretty good. A little bit heavier rain would be nice. So hi, Anne from New Zealand, and hi, Di. It's wet down your way as well. Yeah, how nice is it's cooler. It was so hot the last couple of days. My God, you could tell we were going to get storms because it was just stinking hot. And of course, we did get storms over the last 2 days, but now it's just this beautiful, beautiful, probably low 20s, I'm guessing, low to mid 20s. So, yeah, loving it. All right, so let's get into this. So, like I said, we want to talk about critiquing your own art. Hi, Liz, as well. So, it can critiquing your own art can really change the way you grow as an artist. Um, because if you're not good at self-critiquing, then of course you're just going to keep going and keep going. You're not actually going to probably learn. Whereas if you can self-critique, you will probably grow a bit better or a bit quicker, maybe. So don't panic because I know we all hate critiques. But this is about judging your, um, not judging your worth as an artist, more or less, but it's more about learning, for you to learn to see your art more clearly. So to sort of step back and take a look at your art, maybe the way an art judge or a teacher might, and you're going to use that to grow. Okay. So critiquing really matters because you know that feeling when you finish a piece, you prop it up on your easel, and sometimes it feels a bit off, but you're not really sure why. Okay, so that's where this sort of self-critique will come in. So it'll help you to identify what's working really well and what could use a little bit of fine-tuning. But there's no self-judgment here. We don't want to be hard on ourselves, okay? Because I know critique can be a really tough thing. But it's also how you can move forward without guessing why to actually knowing what's wrong and what you need to do to fix. So from going from I hope this looks right to I can see exactly what I need to adjust or what I need to do next time. Okay, now a lot of you guys that are in the creative barn, you know, you can always share in the group. So it's always great to have a community that you can share in. And also you can, you know, all guys know you can send things to me and ask for advice. But this is also something I think everyone should start to learn how to do as well. Okay. So one of the best ways to self-critique is to look at your artwork as if it wasn't yours. Okay. So just ask yourself, say if a student bought this piece to me, then what feedback would I give them? So that one question sort of immediately pulls you out of the emotional attachment and into more of an observation mode. Okay, so you might notice composition issues, areas that might feel too busy, or colors that aren't harmonizing right. You'll also see what's working. Maybe your lighting is spot on, or your texture feels really good. And that's just as important to acknowledge. So don't just criticize. Critique is not criticizing your work. It is, or picking out all the bad things or the things that you don't think works. It's also thinking about what does work as well. Okay, so we just finished, morning, Helene and Judy, Evelyn as well. Let me just move this so I can see where I'm holding this. I always have to go this way. We just finished this one as a draw along session in the Creative Barn. And I've had a couple of adjustments to it, but I've let it sit for a few days. Here is the reference image. Okay, now when I've fiddled with it a bit, but it's still not right. This side here, it looks a bit better in real life and the screen's not really showing it that well. But this side here, as you can see in the photo, needs to be a lot darker because the sun is coming from this side. So my values are off on it. And when I first finished it and saw it on the screen, or I took a photo, that's when it sort of really started to stand out. But in person, it's not as bad as it looks on the screen. But that was something, so values, of course, stand out. So that was something I could critique and go, right, luckily with pastel, we can fix a lot of things. So I just need to make this area darker as opposed to brighten that area up. So like around his muzzle here, I feel I could lighten a bit more. I really want that strong contrast that's showing in the photo to really make it look like the sun is hitting that side. I feel like I've achieved that down the bottom on the teeth where the sun is hitting the tongue and those front teeth, but the dog itself needs a bit more contrast there. And then again, there's something going on up here. I don't like these teeth. I feel like I've got them the wrong shape or something. It's not quite right there. So something, but that's just a little bit of technique, fine adjustments, I suppose. But overall, in general, yeah, there's things I'm really happy with. But sitting back, and it's a good way to take a photo, sit back from it. I like to, rather than when I finish a painting, rather than just put it away somewhere, I like to sit it just on my desk or somewhere that I'm going to see it, somewhere where I'm walking past it all the time. And the beauty with pastels, you can make fine adjustments. You don't have to mix paints or anything to do that. So that's when I notice things really start to pop out at me a little bit better. As it is, I would be more than happy to frame that and call it done. But well, like I said before, when you do a piece, when you finish, there'll be sometimes you'll think that's not quite right. And that's what this one has been doing to me. but I'm getting happier with it. The more few adjustments I'm making, that, like I said, at this stage, I'm more than happy to put it in a frame and call it done. But I think it's just those couple of teeth I want to just adjust. Maybe I've got the shape a little bit wrong. Maybe I've got the one too bright, just little things. But yeah, so that's sort of the self-critiquing thing. But we're going to go through it deeper, and I've got a better way for you to be able to critique your own work through stages, like a guide. What's so decorated? I finished a baby drawing. I'll post it later. Thanks to both Kerri and my in-house art critique for the advice. I was so close to washing it off. Don't do that. Oh, Dad, you can always fix the pastel. Hi, Alexandra and Jeanette as well. Okay, so the big difference between judging and critique is judging says, like, this is bad. Critiquing says, this part isn't quite working yet. What can I change? So, see, there is a difference between the two. So, one stops your growth in its tracks, whereas the other opens the door to improvement. So, the goal to critique is not beating yourself up, is to just get curious and, just start to learn what to look for. So, a while back, I was talking with an art judge, and she mentioned something called the 7 C's that she uses. So it's a list that she runs through when evaluating artworks in competitions, but it's also what she runs through herself when she's finished a piece or as she's working through a piece. And I thought, yeah, this is a brilliant tool for artists to run through themselves as well, just to help you out. So I'm just going to share my screen. Now, if you notice in the comments there should be a link, and the link is to this. It's just a little 2-page PDF where you can run through and like print it out and just keep it on hand if you want to go through some of these yourself. Hold on, I'm just trying to move. Oh, no. Oh my God, I'm just trying to move my screen over so I can see as I'm talking. All right, there we go. Okay, so the 7 C's. Okay, so we've got composition, creativity, concept, craftsmanship, color and contrast. Oh, and communication, sorry. Yep. So the composition, so what it means is the arrangement of elements in your piece. So we all sort of know when a good composition, a painting, the painting feels right, doesn't it? It's pleasing to look at. And that's all to do with how you've arranged things, like with the rule of thirds, the golden mean, all the different ways. But it's also questions to ask yourself is like, is your focal point clear? Does the viewer's eye move naturally around your artwork? Or is the viewer's eye drawn to where you want it to be drawn to? So that, again, is your focal point. And the easiest composition guides are the rule of thirds, where you have your main subject sort of on that cross point, one of those cross points. Okay, so composition, first and foremost. Then we go to creativity, which is originality, experimentation, and expression. So your originality and personal expression. So did you try something new or add your own voice? Does it feel uniquely yours? Now, also remember, if you're a beginner, you may not need to worry about this one if you're still working from tutorials. So again, it's a guide, so don't be hard on yourself with any of these. This probably is more related to once you're starting to create your own unique compositions, like your own original compositions from your own images. Or if you are still learning, following tutorials, little things you could do to be a bit more creative is start to make your own color choices or change the image up a bit. I know Odette likes to crop, her style is really close up cropped images. So in a tutorial I'll do, she might follow along, but she'll change the way the cropping is of that image. So, little things like that, maybe making bolder color choices or doing things more in pastels style, like pastel colors, or more messy strokes than say I do in my tutorials. Little things they're just small steps towards your own unique style. So if you are still a beginner following tutorials and still sort of finding your feet, then there's still little things you can do like that. Okay, but if these as well go towards not just self-critiquing but entering competitions. So creativity is a big one that judges really love. They want it to be different, feel like they want to feel the artist in it, let's say. All right, third one is concept. So the message or emotion behind the work, what you're trying to say. Like this one is about the story. We've talked about story before. So the concept of your work usually is what is the story, why you're painting it. Also, like, does the mood that you're trying to express come across to the viewer as well? Yeah, so just think story and emotion to do with concept. Then craftsmanship is technical skill and handling of materials. So, like, are your layers and edges clean, intentional? Are your details sort of refined? Have you handled your materials confidently? So have you mastered the medium you're using? Does it show that you know what you're doing with that medium? Things like, so that's where you want to, that takes time to build up your craftsmanship, of course, but judges are looking for that as well. And also you should be when you're self-critiquing, but again, don't be hard on yourself. Look at things like, okay, maybe you might be really happy with the fur you were able to build up. Maybe you're happy with how you did that. You built the layers. So keep a note that how you did it, or maybe like say you were doing eyes and you're not happy with the eyes. So you might need to make a note that your craftsmanship needs to get better on drawing eyes, okay, or blending pastels or whatever it is. Okay, so craftsmanship is all about your skills. Sorry, I need a drink. My voice has gone croaky. Okay, then we're going to get to color. So the fifth C is color. So harmony, temperature, and value relationships. So do the colors support the mood and the composition? Just move that up a bit. Hopefully you can see that fine. Could I adjust warmth and contrast? Just the color in general. Okay, with your warm and cool balance, that sort of thing. Mainly, yeah, is it projecting the mood you want? Is it harmonious? The temperature, all that sort of stuff. So just color in general. So say if you wanted, I suppose, a dreary, rainy day like it is out here, you're going to have those more muted, cooler tones compared to if you were drawing a camel in the Sahara Desert where you would want more warmer tones. All right, then we go to contrast. So visual interest and balance of light and dark, soft and sharp. So is there enough variation to make the piece engaging? Are your focal areas emphasized? Have you used lost edges where needed? So contrast can be a range of different things, which we've talked about in the membership actually. So you've got your value, of course, which is your light and dark. Your edges are really important. So having soft and sharp edges. So as things sort of recede or go around, you're going to lose those edges. The sharp edges help us to draw the viewer's eye directly to it. And then you've got, quiet and busy. We always need spaces in our art to rest, I suppose. So always make sure you think about that. And yeah, sharp contrast will draw the viewer's eye as well. So say an area or an edge where it's a really dark against a really light. If that's not where you want your viewer's eye to be, but your eye keeps going there, that's usually the problem. You've got too stronger contrasts between your light and darks, so you could tone that down. So once you figure out what it is that is causing these problems or making it not look right or pulling your eye to where you don't want it to be, once you understand why, then it's easy to fix, of course. And then lastly is communication. So the connection with the viewer. Does your artwork evoke emotion? What might someone feel when they look at it? Okay, so that's what communication stands for, is more the emotional connection and the feeling of it all. Okay, so I'm just going to stop sharing. There we go. Okay, so like I said, you can print that out, which should help you hopefully figure out going through those 7 C's and asking yourself each one, and hopefully will help you figure out where you see problems and what the problem is and how you can fix it. Okay. And don't, like I keep saying, this isn't to make you feel bad about your work, it's to help you grow, okay, as an artist. Let me just find my notes again. Oh, hi, Farley. Yes, Farley, fundamentals are very important, 100%. Okay, so so next time you finish a piece, I want you to step away for a day so you'll see it more clearly with fresh eyes then. Then also take a photo and flipping it horizontally. So all our phones and that, we take a photo with a phone. If you go to the settings or edit, whatever it is, the thing in your photos, there'll be a flip. So if you flip it, it's going to look weird. It always does when you flip a painting. You're so used to seeing it one way. And then when you flip it, it's like holding it up in the mirror. Okay. Things seem to stand out more if you're looking at it on that different angle. Another way is to convert it to black and white and check your values. Okay, so that's another important one. Sit it next to the reference image, like I just showed you with this painted dog. You could even do that on the screen, like take a photo and have your reference image and your finished drawing next to each other. If you don't print out your reference image, I always print mine out so I can sit it side by side and just look at it. And then you could do a 2-minute glance test. So look away from your art, then glance back for 2 seconds. And that will help. You want to ask yourself, where does your eye go first? Okay. So that's your true focal point. I always do this as well when one of my students in class or online sends me their finished work, and always asks if there's anything they need to adjust. That's one I always do. I'm always sort of going back and forth, going, where is my eye drawing to? Is it going to where the main focus point is meant to be? Which with animals, 9 times out of 10, it's like the eyes, the face. but sometimes I'll see my eyes going down to some corner somewhere, and it's usually just their values are out. They've got that high contrast point there, which they just need to dull that down a bit and tone that contrast a little bit, and then your eye goes back to where you want it to be. Or the opposite could be you need more contrast to be where you want the eye to go. Okay, so just a quick glance, 2 seconds, you know. And then again, you could, like I said, with turning it to black and white, so a value map. So you could squint or use a grayscale filter and check if the darkest and lightest areas where you plan them to be. Okay, and then you can score yourself on each of those 7 C's. So on that printout, there is a second page that has a little chart thing there where you can run through the 7 C's and write down your sort of thoughts of how your piece is, and write yourself a little score if you want. So you want to think about what worked really well and what you could improve either on that piece or next time you go about it. Okay, so it's not about perfection, it's about progress, and it's sort of noticing patterns so you can consciously improve with each artwork. Okay, because we do get a bit stuck in that as we're learning. We sort of get into a pattern and think this is how we're doing it, right? But sometimes we have to step back from it and reassess, and there could be changes you might need to make to how you're actually implementing the work. All right, Farley's going wild on the chat. All right. Now, when critique comes from others, okay, so this is all about self-critiquing and using those 7 C's, but I just wanted to also mention critique from others. What's Karen got? Sometimes I take my glasses off and see areas that aren't right better than with them on. Well, that's probably a good idea, Karen, because that's similar to when everyone says just squint at your painting and things, like especially with values. So yeah, maybe rather than squint, just take your glasses off, and and that might work just as well. Having everything go a bit blurry, because then especially your values will stand out more. All right, so let's talk about this other side of critique. So when it comes from someone else, okay, because as soon as you start sharing your art online, you'll get opinions. Some will be helpful and some not so much. Okay, so the truth is that all feedback is not created equal. Okay, so you have to learn to filter what you let in. Okay, receiving critique can be a skill as well. Because I know it can be a bit harsh sometimes, but try not to just defend your work right away and like shut off and go, oh, you might not have asked for critique, but someone might give it to you. And this is where you got to decipher whether it's good critique or bad critique. So rather than just instantly shutting off and not listening, maybe sort of read what they've said, take some notes to yourself, and then decide later if it feels valid rather than instantly just blocking it off. So like inside the Creative Barn membership, members often learn more from seeing how others approach the same tutorial than from just their own results. So seeing how others are approaching and creating different things, like it's the same tutorial, but they might be doing little different things that can also help as well. And always look at where the critique is coming from. Is it from a loved one who is trying to help you improve, or is it from a keyboard warrior who is just trying to bring you down? Okay, so there's a big difference between feedback that's meant to help you grow and comments that just come from someone else's ego, insecurity, or just plain nastiness. Okay, so helpful critique usually sounds like, oh, your lighting is beautiful. You could try softening this edge to make the focus stronger. Or I love your concept, maybe darkening the background would help to make the subject pop. I've always heard they say do a, is it a, I think it's called a critique sandwich or something. So you start off with something that you love about the piece, then you mention the thing that needs improving, and then you finish again with an like uplifting. So it's, I don't know, the bad bits in the middle of the sandwich, put it that way. But you can tell with those examples of critiques, it's someone actually looking at your work and deciphering it and trying to help. It's thoughtful, it's specific, and it's delivered with kindness. So you can feel it's coming from a place of wanting to help. Whereas unhelpful critique, on the other hand, often sounds like just someone saying, oh, that looks really weird, or you shouldn't have used those colors, or I wouldn't hang that on my wall. So there's no encouragement there. It's just someone trying to knock you down, So just ask yourself, does this person have experience or context that's relevant to your goals? Or are they speaking from love or from comparison? And can you learn something from this, or will it just make you doubt yourself? Okay, so if it's yes, that it is coming from a good place, then you should listen to it and you should reflect on it, and also you will grow from it. But if you think, oh, this person is not coming from a good place at all, they're just being nasty, then just ignore it, move on, okay? If they're really nasty, you can just, if it's online, you can always block, of course, but just let it slide off your back, They're just trying to bring you down, so don't worry about it. You don't owe everyone your energy. And art is personal, and sometimes people project their own fears or preferences onto your work. So your job is just know your own intention and stay connected with why you created, okay? Because I know a few people that a harsh critique from a keyboard warrior has really put them down, and it's affected them a lot, and made them not want to do their art, which is something no one has the right to make you feel that way. Okay, so I know it can be hard, but just try and just brush it off, say they're not worth your time. Okay, but that's where you got to learn to know where critique is coming from. Is it a good place, someone wanting to help you grow, or is it someone from some nastiness sort of side of someone? And this also comes back to trying to get yourself involved in a really supportive community around you, where you know that they're all there trying to just help and support you. Okay, where if I know you don't even have to ask for critique on the internet. Sometimes you'll put your work into a group of that has 20,000 people in it, and you're bound to get some people just automatically telling you what you should do to improve it, even if you haven't asked. But on the other hand, if you do put it in a group that's got thousands and thousands of people and you ask for a critique, you have to expect to get you'll get some great advice, but then you'll also get some that's not so great. Okay, so maybe don't put yourself in a position like that. Try and find a smaller community, or just a couple of friends or family members are great, but they kind of need to know a bit about art as well. Okay, so you might have a husband or a sister or someone who is more than happy to critique your work, but make sure they do know a little bit about what they're talking about before you take it all on board, okay? Oh, yeah, Farley. Charlie. Yes, so true. Sometimes people can be a little bit jealous. But yeah, and that's up to you. Like I said, you need to learn what to take on and what to let just go. Okay? So whenever you do get feedback, just pause and say to yourself, is there truth in this that helps me grow? Okay? And then, like I said, if it is, take it on board. If not, just move on. Okay, so critique, whether from yourself or others, is about learning to see clearly, not harshly. Of course, we're not judging our work harshly. It's about developing your eye and strengthening your skills, and also trusting your own artistic voice as well, of course. You could also keep a little journal or just a page for each artwork, maybe as you're learning and growing. You could do this online with a Trello board and have a separate one for each one, or you just have a sketchbook or a notebook, and you could just print out maybe your art, stick it in there, and then jot down next to it maybe what you learned, what surprised you about certain things of it, what you might try differently next time. And over time, that sort of becomes a record of your artistic evolution. And it's also satisfying to look back and see how far you've come as well. So that's just one little thing if you think you want. And like I said, I've got that printout. Let me just double check. It is in here. Cannot see it. It's supposed to be in there. Let me know if you can see in the chat, because I can't, the link to the printout of those 7 C's. Because let me try, and I'll get it again anyway here. It should be there. I thought I pinned it, but I'll do it again. And of course, those in the membership, the Creative Barn, I will have this in there as a lesson anyway. Okay, I've just posted it in the chat again. If you're watching the replay, I'll make sure it is down in the comments as well. Oh, the link is there, thanks, Di. Well, it's there again now. Don't know why it won't let me see there. Anyway. Okay, I think that was pretty much it. The other thing I did want to mention is if you live in the Fraser Coast area, or even in Brisbane and you want to do a day trip, then it's a long drive though, it's like 3 hours. But I just want to invite everyone to, we have a student exhibition, so it's myself and all of my students, those sort of in the membership and those in person. We do a yearly exhibition where we display our work and what we've been doing, and the opening for that is on Saturday, this Saturday, 1st of November at 4:30, and it's at the Maryborough Regional Art Society, which is on Kent Street in Maryborough, Queensland. Okay, now I know that's a fair way from a lot of people, but if you happen to be up this way, or you're watching this and you live around the area, we would absolutely love you to come. We've got light refreshments and drinks are provided. And yeah, it's just a great way to meet some locals and chat and talk about art. And it's all wildlife and nature art, done in different mediums. There's mixed media, pastels, of course. There'll be some charcoal. There'll probably be watercolors. There'll be all different things. So a lot of my students, they're not just, for our student exhibition, it can be anything they've created. It doesn't have to be from a lesson at all. So it's just a way to encourage my students to put their work out there and grow their confidence a little bit. So we would absolutely love anyone who wants to come along to join in on that. And the exhibition is open for the whole of November. So even if you can't make the opening and you happen to be up our way anytime in November, go and check it out. There's some amazing artwork there. All right, just let me double check. There it is. All right, okay, Judy, yep, thank you. I'm just checking comments, but I think that is everything, and I hope this has been really useful definitely print out that worksheet and just keep it on hand whenever you finish a piece. And something like you might finish a piece and you might be, yes, this is brilliant, I love it. You don't need to self-critique yourself at all. But if you do finish a piece and there's something not quite right, that's when you can go through and self-critique. Okay. All right. Thanks everyone, and I will see you next Tuesday, where we'll probably chat about what we did at the art retreat at Ozzoo. So probably, you never know, I might change my mind. All right, enjoy the rest of your day, guys. I'll see you all later. Bye.